Greenland's gigantic ice surfaces, the two poles and the inland glaciers of all countries with many billion tons of weight on the underground, which is pressed deep into the Earth's crust, by which great depressions have been formed. If the gigantic masses of ice now are melting, the pressure on the underground diminishes and, as a result, it is moving very quickly upwards, and the relaxation leads to the disappearance of the depression. This is not harmless, however, because tectonic movements are resulting through the relaxation, through which earthquakes of all strengths are increasingly reduced. In another way, through the emerging meltwater the sea level is rising, through which the coastal regions are planed by new hydraulic pressure. As a result, the underground is changing, however at great depths, where great magma masses are moved and driven into volcanoes, which leads to new and increased volcanic eruptions. But the total of the immense increase of the water masses in the oceans leads to another evil effect, because the water masses are influencing the rotation of the Earth, in a way that the planet starts turning faster, and a change in the time of day is caused. However, this is not all that results from climate warming because, truthfully, the human being is also negatively influenced by it in a physical, psychic and mental way. Thus depressions arise that are spreading more and more among many people on Earth and are turning into chronic conditions. Disorders of consciousness also appear more frequently, and so states of anxiety as well as thoughts and feelings of loss are spreading more and more, just as the cooling of thoughts and the resultant carelessness, brutality, violence and unscrupulousness become ever more blatant and lead to the murder of fellow human beings. All evils are increasingly getting out of hand, just as greed for enjoyment and the addiction to alcohol, medications, drugs and the adrenaline kick. This is happening because the human being's mental health is damaged by the climate change, and the anatomy of the brain is changing, even if this happens only imperceptibly for the time being and has not yet been recognized by the scientists and will probably be disputed, since I openly mention this fact and truth. Patha says, "What you just said actually lies on the border of that which you may say openly. You should not disclose further explanations." Billy says, "Understood. But something should also be said about the fact that the human beings of Earth are causing many evils and catastrophes themselves, not only with regard to the climate warming, but also because they collectively direct their thought and their subconsciousness forces so powerfully on evils and catastrophes, etc. A part of this is also the false claims and lies by fear and panic makers as well as end-of-the-world prophets, religions and their sects, etc., onto which susceptible human beings are focusing and through which the evils and catastrophes, etc., then actually come true. Nowadays, through the internet, it is even worse than in the past, when evil news, fairs and end-of-the-world fables, as well as other absurdities, were spread alone by religions, sects, end-of-the-world prophets, newspapers, journals and by the radio. A majority of human beings constantly occupy themselves with dreadful things that are prophesied by alarmists and conspiracy theoreticians, who are terrifying those people who are susceptible to it. And the more people believe in this nonsense and are building it up to a delusion within themselves and in the environment, the more powerful becomes the force of the related common thoughts, until it becomes the decisive might and is triggering and causing the made-up catastrophe or evil. The power of thoughts brings about everything, so to speak, and in fact all the more certain, the more the thought forces of many people unite in the same cause. This means that what the human being nurtures and maintains in his thoughts, inevitably fulfills itself, and that more people are directing themselves onto something certain with their forces of thought, onto something that could or should turn out, the more certainly it will actually come true. This refers to everything and everyone, respectively to everything that is imaginable, therefore also to factors of nature which, when influenced by the powerful human forces of thought, can trigger immense catastrophes. Patha says, an indisputable fact. I would like to remind you now once again that you should not announce any further details with reference to the year 2012. What will be necessary to be openly mentioned, I will explain to you